and Laura, I'm going to make you co-host because I know that people tend to jump on 5 minutes late all the time. So, all right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the A's to Z's of building a real estate team. Just as a quick check-in, we do this once a month now, on the first Monday of every month, and it's all things real estate related with regards to team building in any way, shape, or form. So I had some things I was going to talk about today, but if anybody has anything in particular that they wanted to bring to the table, that is open as well. And Tui, I think I've had you on before, haven't I, Tui? If you're able to come on camera, that would be great. I see you kind of hanging out in the background there. Might just be in listen only mode. We shall see. So before I start, is there anything in particular that anyone would like to discuss with regards to building a real estate team or having an issue or a concern that they feel like they need to talk about? No? Everything's going perfectly in the world of teams? Jason, how is yours going? The last time we spoke, you were still building and developing.
So I mean, so oh shoot, how do I describe it? It's going fine. It's going fine. I just realized I'm not gonna hire me, because me wouldn't work for me. And that's okay. So
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
okay, yeah, we could definitely talk about it. Somebody doing things as successful and as profitable as we're doing it, that they would be with me, and then I'd probably have to make them either a partner or they would go off and do it on their own. Um, but if we're talking about specifically the team, it's fine. I'm not invested a lot into it. The way I see it is I give them as much as they want. I have found excuses are the biggest thing. So I'm like, okay, I've backed off. So my first original team, I think it was 2 years ago, and they kind of exploded after it was definitely my fault. I'll take the blame. I was just not hard, but yeah, I was hard. I would say like, hey guys, how's it going? How are we doing X, Y, and Z? These are the tasks that should be getting done. Hey, what's going on? Why aren't you getting them done? Oh, well, this and this and this. And then, okay, well, let me walk you through those processes. Um, this time around, I'm taking kind of a more hands-off approach while still being available, and I meet with them twice a week, specifically just to go over the goals and what they're working on. I give them I say, hey, you need a minimum of 2 appointments. I give them little tasks
Mhm.
that are regular. They're supposed to be accountable. And then on Thursday or Friday, I go, how did that go? And they come up with excuses on why they didn't do it. And it's okay. I'm just like, oh, okay, I get it. That's it, the end. And that's okay. And then but I'm also not giving them leads at this point
Okay.
anymore. So the previous team, I was giving them leads and they actually got overwhelmed. Now, I'm not giving them any leads, because I also have lead SOP for how they're supposed to handle the leads. And if they're not handling the leads in the correct manner, then I don't give them the leads. Um, it's fine. I mean, I've got, I think, 10% market share, multiple zip codes in my area, but it's just me handling that while the team, I mean, one of them is an escrow right now, on a lead that I gave him that we're all done. But it is what it is. So it's fine.
Okay. I have some comments.
Okay, go ahead.
Um, so one, is it your desire to have a team that does what you ask them to do and like because you're saying that it's okay that they don't? Is that I'm giving up and letting this happen this way, or is that
My priorities right now are not them.
okay?
My priority right now is not the team, so I'm letting them do what they want to do. I mean, I'm in the I'm in looking to hire somebody right now. So we're hiring our second person or a third person. I don't know. We're hiring, and then we're opening up our second office space, and so there's just a lot going on. And I'm like, it's all right. You guys do your thing. And they're being courted by other teams now that are, they're asking me like, Jason, hey, are you going to be paying for this? Are you going to be paying for that? I said, no. And I also tell them like, hey, you know what? Here's what's happening. You probably feel like you're floundering, because you're like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. I gave you the steps to do. If you do these, you won't feel like you're floundering.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, but this other team is saying this and this and this. I'm like, yeah, they're going to promise a lot. And I'm just like, okay, if you want to go, go ahead. I mean, I haven't said that, but yeah.
Got it. Got it.
So,
All right. Well,
do I want a team that follows my thing? No, I want to help. I want to help them be successful at whatever they're going to do. So, I have given them like, hey, these things have worked for me. These are the things that I do, and this is how I've been able to do what I do. If you guys want to do this, cool. If you don't, let's substitute these with whatever is going to work with you.
okay.
Yeah.
So one of the very first things that you said that I found very interesting
Mhm.
was you said, I'm not going to be able to hire a me.
Yeah, correct.
That is a very interesting belief because
Okay.
the reason I'm asking that is I obviously run a team right now. It's not my team.
Sure.
So Rick hired a me. He hired a him, right? So it is entirely possible to hire a you.
Did he, is he, Rick and you are different.
In what way?
Um, Rick, so from what I remember this isn't like, I don't want to get in an argument here, but
No, it's
Rick and you are different. He has different skill sets. He has different love languages. He is different. You are very SOP oriented. You were like paperwork. You're like, I like Excel sheets. I like all of that. Rick was not that.
nope, definitely not.
Okay, so he didn't hire you. For me to hire me, it would be somebody that doesn't do Excel sheets, that doesn't do this, that doesn't do that. I go out there, I get in front of people and I do my thing. I am, for me to bring on somebody that's similar to me, I'd have to make them a partner, which is fine. I'm willing to make them a partner, and I'd like to make them a partner. That way they could unload off of me. But yeah, so
Okay.
that's why I'm saying, like, I don't know that Rick hired you. He hired somebody that filled his gaps.
True. However, I obviously lost Rick and had to
Sure.
replace Rick, and I have hired a listing partner for the
Did you
team.
hire a Rick?
I hired a rainmaker.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so it is possible to hire someone to replace you or to support you in the same way that you do it. Like if you don't want to be the one out running around and you want to hire someone to come in and do those things so that you're not doing all of those things, it is entirely possible.
Mhm.
Uh, and,
I
even on
agree.
the team, even on the team that I ran in New York, Mark hired me to replace him in that role. He was team leader, running the team,
Yep.
doing all of the things, and I did all of those things for many years, right? So you can replace yourself or even like add on another person. We had multiple listing partners in New
Sure.
York, multiple buyer agents, but it isn't impossible to hire someone to either fill your position so that you can step back and do something else that you want to do, or to like build up more of what you're already doing,
I
right? So
completely agree.
that is
Yeah.
entirely possible. And I do run the real estate team for the Rick Chiha real estate team in Fremont. And yes, am I selling? No. Did I hire someone to go and list? Absolutely. That's all she does. So there's always the possibility of hiring someone to do those. So when we use the word never or a can't, or then that we're speaking that into power, right? So it is entirely possible. I know plenty of people who started out as having a team who now have stepped back completely and they have team leaders, listing partners, buyers agents, transaction coordinators, and everything, and they are not the one having to manage all of that.
And that I agree with you. I completely agree with that. So, again, you're bringing this up, so I'll kind
Good.
of
No, I
mention
want to talk about it.
back and
I think it's
forth.
really great.
So I would like to hire, and I am looking to hire someone to go show homes, and I
Mhm.
could train them and show them how to do all of that. Okay.
Mhm.
And then
Excellent.
boom, got them for that. And I just hired a section of me.
Okay.
Okay. And then I'd like to hire somebody to handle my marketing. That's literally what I'm focused on right now. And I'm going to hire a section of me. And now I'm going to hire somebody to do all my paperwork. And I'm going to hire a section of me.
Yep.
And now I'm gonna look into hiring a listing transaction, whatever. hire a section of me. And now I'm going to look to hire an operations manager and a office manager. That's a section of me. Does that make sense? And that's
It
what I
does.
was getting at.
Okay,
So,
got it.
so what you just described was somebody that says, hey, I hired this, I hired this, I hired this. That's not me. Right now, I am this, and I am that, and I am this, and I am that. And I'm really good at those. And
Mhm.
I'm really, really good at those. But I, if I was to hire somebody that can handle all of this, they're going to look at me and say, Jason, I could do this on my own. Why am I going to be working for you when I can run a team that makes $1 million? And
It's
then they
possible.
would say, and then I would say, dude, let's partner. And that's why I'm saying I will partner. But yeah, no, I agree with you. I can hire this and I could hire that and I could hire that. I'm not saying I will never hire that. I'm literally hiring all of those things. So yes, I agree with you.
Yeah. I just don't want you to have the limiting belief that it's impossible to find someone to do that because it's not, because I've seen it.
So I didn't have that. So what I did say was I am never going to hire me. I am never going to hire me. I'm going to partner with me. I'm
It's
going to
possible to do both.
partner with what's that?
It's possible to do both. It is possible to hire someone to do that.
Okay, I
Mhm.
would not work for me for very long. And
Got
I
it.
would drain all of my resources. So like if I hired myself, I would be like, teach me everything. I'm gonna grab, 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 and then I'm gonna hit the ceiling of $1 million a year. And then I'd say like, dude, I you're making a lot more than me, and I can do everything you do. And then we both sit together and I say, let's partner. And then I'd say, let's partner. And then we do it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm
I
willing to
see that.
say, yeah,
Yeah. You can do
but
it either way. You can do it both ways. I've seen it happen both ways. Some people don't want a partner. Some people just want a job, and they operate best in a position where they're given that,
and
like on the
that's
plate.
not and
Yeah, it's
back
not
to
you.
Selena, that's where I'm saying I'm
Yeah.
not hiring me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want a job. I don't want an hour job. I don't want an hourly commission. I don't want a cap. I don't want a ceiling. I don't want anything. If I applied for my position, I would say, I'm going to work with you for a little bit. And if we don't make partner, I'm out. And and
That's
again,
your belief.
that's my belief. Yeah, that is my
Yeah.
belief. That's why I'm saying I wouldn't hire me.
Yeah. Got it.
Back to, but yes, I am totally down to hire somebody to fill in my marketing, somebody to handle all
Which
of
you
the,
should be. You should be
yeah,
outsourcing all of those things anyway.
right,
That's definitely not things that you should be working on at all.
right,
That's going to free up your time to do the things you love and enjoy,
right.
right? And do it that way. Amanda and David, I see you guys joined us a little bit late. Anything that you guys specifically wanted to bring to the table today? David, I'm only seeing your ceiling, I think. Fairly certain. Everyone's so quiet today. This is an interactive call for do we know, Jason, are any of these your folks at all?
No,
No, okay.
no, 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 no. I don't have it. I don't know. I don't think that this would be a good place to bring any of
Can and
my,
can be. It's
okay.
sometimes it is because they like to talk about what it looks like as on a team. So sometimes I do
Oh,
have buyers agents, listing agents, I have
that'd
transaction
be, that'd be
coordinators. Yeah,
awesome. I would love to hear them. I guess they probably would have vent because I'm here.
yeah. Amanda, you came off of mute for a second. Share.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just here for some tips. I just decided to start a quote unquote team. But my vision is a little kind of similar but a little bit different. Like I want to be able to get one or two people who can be a buyer's agent. I pay them 1099 and I can go and do what I want to do, and be able to be free and have them take care of my clients the way I take care of them. That's my ideal team.
Can I ask you, you said that you would want to pay them as 1099. Why would you pay
Correct.
them?
Yep. So I would do like 25%. So it'd basically be for my clients. I would have them as buyer's agents. I would do the 25% for basically like a referral fee, 1099 it, and they can do their job as well, like have their own clients or whatever. But yeah, that's my model in my head. And it hasn't came to fruition yet. I'm still looking for a couple of agents that have the same morals and ethics and that love people and will take care of my clients the way I do.
Dude, Amanda, I get it. I very similar to you as well. Like I've even considered bringing on somebody fully paid,
Fine.
like
Mhm.
giving them $30 or 30 grand plus a commission of just like, okay, here's all my clients. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I get it, Amanda.
Another way to do
Yeah.
it. It is, yeah, like
Yeah.
I say a salaried, but like a salaried
A salary.
showing agent really is what that becomes more of. Um, so very interesting discussion today. So the reason I'm saying that is normally when we have teams, like we have standards, and in order to be on the team, you stick to the standards, right? And it is the idea behind that is exactly what you said, Amanda, is that they are adhering to the same things you believe. And I would say for you, if you're just starting out, it would be very important to define core values because we hire and fire to core values. So if you haven't defined what your core values are yet, that would be really great for you to go ahead and start. And then that way, when you are looking to hire, you can show them, these are my core values. Are these in alignment with your core values before we even move forward with like a interview?
That's a good idea. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Because sometimes it's hard to walk backwards from it when we don't have them in place and say, I'm letting you go because you don't meet this level of integrity that I have, or this isn't, very important to be in production. If they're like, I do this because it's, fun and on the side, and you're like, I do this because it pays my bills. Sometimes those core values can create conflict, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it would be really good because then that way, when you are interviewing someone, you're like, hey, this is what's really important to me. And I would want you to carry this into everything you do with every client that I give you. And if they're like, that doesn't really matter to me, then that's probably not a good person for you to even to talk with.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can I chime in real quick?
Of course, Jason.
You nailed it like 100%. So even with my hires too, I feel so bad when I hire somebody and we don't have that written out, and then I'm like troubleshooting everything with them, and then they're feeling bad because of the lack of expectations or unknown expectations, and then
Yep.
me, I'm feeling bad because I'm like, oh shoot, I expected this, and I'm like, oh, I didn't communicate that. They didn't know. So then there's grace and back and forth. Yeah, Amanda, when you're bringing on team members, that expectation, Selena, thank you for bringing that up. Like that
Yeah, you bet.
expectation is huge, or else they're gonna walk in and say like, this is just my part-time gig. I don't know why you're expecting me to call them within
Yeah.
24 hours. That's silly. Like they
Yeah.
can wait because I have to go hang out with my family. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? I just sent you $1 million buyer. You should be calling them within 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those expectations are all set up. I have to go. I have to run to a meeting.
No worries.
So good to see you guys.
Good to see you too, Jason.
Yeah, if anybody needs anything, please.
You bet.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
So Amanda, just also in follow up to that, so there are a couple of different ways to run that model. So I love that you brought it up because it's absolutely that you could hire someone full time and that's their gig, right? Like, hey, every time I send you somebody to show a house, we can call that like a paid showing assistant. Sometimes people will do a salary. Sometimes people do it per door. Like, hey, I'm going to give you $25 per door that you open, but depending on the distance. Like sometimes if it's really far, you might, give them a little bit more. And that is great for a newbie agent, by the way, somebody newly licensed, really doesn't have a lot of experience, would love to earn some cash while they're still learning to lead generate, prospect, and do all of those things. But then you can just like Venmo. Like that's what I did in New York with the team I had there. I had agents that were just showing agents and I paid them per door, right?
Okay.
Hey, I need you to show 5 houses today to this client. And then the expectation is at the end of showing, they're going to give you an absolute rundown of what that client said at every single showing. And I liked that because it kept it easy. I could just Venmo, right? And just be like, hey, thanks for showing 5 houses today. Now that I have the feedback, I've just submitted the payment. Another possibility, and which is why we're on a team building call, is building an actual team, right? With the idea that you have people who have specific roles and who have specific expectations and standards that they are required to keep. This is why I found it so interesting to have Jason on the call, which I've known Jason for years now, and he's had a team, kind of let a lot of people go and then started it back up a little bit differently now. When you hire someone specifically to be on the team, like they are a full-blown team member, and the expectations are very clear on what their position is and what you expect them to do, then that is not typically you paying. That is you splitting the commission, meaning let's say that you got a lead that came in, Amanda, and it was on one of your listings and you decided to give it to a buyer's agent on the team. Then there are expectations that they will call that lead immediately, do the follow-up, set up showings, get into contract, all of those things, correct?
Correct.
On most teams, there is a commission split then in place where it's like 50-50, 60-40, depending on whatever it is. And EXP would take care of that in SkySlope, right? They would be added as a buyer's agent. You would be on it and you would say, great, I gave you this lead. Here are all of my expectations. You got them into contract, and that's a 50-50 split because you provided that lead opportunity and whatever training necessary for a buyer's agent. Right.
Okay.
So you're not having to process a 1099, EXP would, because you put it into SkySlope that, hey, this is what our agreed upon commission split is, and this person is on my team.
Okay.
Now, there are additional benefits to creating teams for team members. It means that you are at a $16,000 cap as team leader. Team members that officially join your team at EXP are half cappers. So they're getting an $8,000 cap.
Oh,
I don't know if you know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So when
Okay.
that is a huge advantage to a lot of agents. They're like, great, I just capped out at 2 transactions, right? In some cases, it can only take 2 or 3, and they have paid in their cap to EXP for the whole year already. And they're earning 100% of their 50%, if that's what you're on your current split at, they're earning that for the remainder of the year.
Okay.
It's a great way that if you've got an agent that you're trying to convince to come onto your team, you're like, hey, guess what? You joined my team and you're a half capper. On teams, the only person who's a full capper is the team leader.
Okay.
One exception. Yep, David, I'll get right to you in just 1 second. One exception is if they want to be an icon agent. If that is in their goals, you have to be a full capper. They have to elect to join the team and still pay full cap.
Okay.
Okay, so like I have 2 people on our team right now that are team members, but they both want to icon and they have every intention of doing so. So in that case, we just notify EXP that these folks want to be on a full cap. Once they get to full cap, they have to close an additional 20 transactions to icon, right? But that's their goal. Like they're like, I'm gonna icon this year, it is gonna happen. So
That's good
David,
to know that.
yeah, you bet. David, you look like you wanted to say something.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good.
Good morning. I sell a lot in Southern California. I range from like Orange County, LA, all the way to Palm Springs. And so my concern is trying to build up a team now. I've been doing it for 27 years. I just recently joined EXP and I've already capped out on 2 transactions.
Nice.
But what I want to do is to get your advice on what is fair. Like, for instance, I'm big on social media, big on Instagram, and where I get more exposure. So I like working with other brokers because I want the exposure of their reach and their network. What do you think is fair is if someone is conducting an open house and during that time frame a buyer comes in but has representation, what do you think is fair? Is an incentive because I'm already, we're already getting the commission. What can I give back to the agent that's hosting the open house? So it's kind of like, even though you're not representing them, because you have that open at that specific time, I want to give a compensation to them as well.
I don't compensate agents for holding open houses because it is their opportunity to get buyer leads. Now, yes, of course, somebody may come in and already be represented, but the goal is that they are going to advertise that open house as well, and that they should be doing whatever is possible to bring as many people into that open house. That is their job by getting the opportunity to hold an open house on one of your listings. And that means door knocking if necessary, calling 100 people, like getting on RedX or Mojo or something and getting a list to call 100 people around that house to tell the neighbors, hey, I'm holding an open house on Saturday from 2 to 4. Do you have any friends or family members who've ever mentioned maybe moving into your neighborhood? We'd love to see them or stop by, right? That's their job. Open houses are not typically compensated because that's giving them this incredible opportunity to get buyer leads, right? So I don't normally pay for that because I'm like, hey, go out there and kill it. You should be putting out 15 to 20 signs pointing everybody to the open house. There should be balloons. You should be talking about it on your own social media, and you should definitely be door knocking beforehand. like ideally like the Thursday before, hey, I'm holding, and leaving something behind saying I'm holding an open house this weekend. So I don't know many people who compensate people for open houses, because that's you giving that agent the opportunity to earn, even though they don't have a listing of their own, probably, right?
Yeah, and a helpful idea that other brokers can take from what I've done is just give them like a cheat sheet in the terms of, because specifically in the city, if the city is giving away free permits on ADU, junior ADUs, and really like when they walk through the property, like knowing, materials, like this is quartz material, this could be a junior ADU, this is what rents could get, that detached garage could be this. So because with all our new laws, it really does, it's a game changer, specifically in California. So if you go to your cities right now, I'm running for city council right now, and I just opportunities of what I've seen on so many cities right now, giving grants, giving free permits, and giving free plans for ADU. So everywhere you look is basically could be an opportunity to have a small home or even a recycled home out of recycled materials. So that's a helpful tip for anyone who's showing properties, because I always look at a property as, can two families live here, and how can
That's
that
awesome.
happen, and where?
Yeah, and so many people are looking for that opportunity as buyers, right? They really are. They're looking for an income producing opportunity if at all possible. So I love that. So it's very interesting to see the thought process. And guys, just to give you some heads up, like some background on me. So I'm a master coach with Workman Success. So I coach teams and brokerages all across the country. And so I see traditionally how teams are structured or should be structured to be the most effective. And that's usually what I talk about on these calls, is all of the different things and ways that I've seen it done, so that maybe you don't have to like make the same mistakes some of us have made in the past with it, or that you can just learn from other folks to say, maybe there's not one way to do it, right? There's multiple ways that you can do it. But when you are building a team, the idea is that you are hiring people to represent you. Okay, so this is important about who you bring on, because if it's your name on the team or it's your brand or whatever it is, you're being so specific about who you're allowing into that space, because now they're under you, and that's your brand that's being put out there. So it's not just about giving people an opportunity and then saying, I'm going to pay you for it. They need to earn the right to represent your brand. Okay, that's earning the right to say, okay, great, I'm coming here to learn. David, you've been in it for 27 years. Now I'm going to learn from you. I have this opportunity that I wouldn't have otherwise. But they're also going to adhere to the same standards and requirements that you would provide if it was you out there showing that house, right? So the idea is that these are folks who, and this is going to sound terrible, may or may not be able to do this on their own. Most people come into a team because either they are not doing well enough on their own, or they don't have the same mindset or structure around it, right? They're coming in. In New York, I had a buyer. She's been on the team now, guys. I've left. I no longer run that team, but she's been there now. This is her 19th year as a buyer's agent, right? So something Jason mentioned, if you weren't on earlier, he was like, why would someone take everything I teach them and stay? They would go out and do it on their own. Well, she hasn't. She could absolutely start a team on her own or be an independent agent on her own, but she has stayed a buyer's agent all these years. The reason is she has so much support and so much guidance, and she loves the team so much she's never left. Okay, she has other passions in her life that having that kind of support with a team allows her to continue having those passions without having, guys, running a team is a lot, right? You're like, it is a lot. There's a lot that you are having to like be in control of, be aware of, pay for, right? There's that. There's the other side of like, you're carrying all the burden of the expenses of running listings, right? That's a lot. And so 20 years into this, she's like, why would I ever leave? Teams allow you to, this is something you don't get as an independent agent. When you go on vacation, you're still working, aren't you? Like, it doesn't really stop. Who else is going to do it for you? Right? But when we have teams, I have buyer's agents that go on vacation, and while they're gone for 10 days, someone else is able to pick up the pieces for them. Like, it allows them to actually connect and be present with their families on vacation because they know the team has them back at home, right? You don't get that when you're an independent agent. You have to think about what are the opportunities. So Amanda, when you're looking to hire, those are the things you're offering as well. Like someone will say, well, why would I be on a team? Like, why would I give you 50%? Well, let me tell you what I'm going to give you in exchange. You have the opportunity to learn from someone who's been doing this at a high level for a long time. You have someone to come to if you have questions or concerns and you don't know how to submit that contract, you're stuck. Maybe you don't know about ADUs and you need David's expertise, right? And you're like, oh, let me figure this out. Now I have someone to go to. Lead flow is the last thing you're offering them because we want to teach agents how to fish. Now, do we have it? Yes, possibly, right? We have listings running and we have a buyer lead comes in or they have the opportunity to hold an open house, but you're not promising them that, hey, you don't have to do anything to lead generate. You better be teaching them how to fish as well, right? We want to make them great what they do. Go ahead, Amanda.
Sorry, that's like my big thing is like, I don't want to even use that in the conversation when I hire. I don't want to be, oh yeah, come over here, I will give you leads, because that's not what I'm going to do. That's not what I want. That's not my model. I'm going to show you how to get leads. I'm going to show you how to use your social media to leverage, people. And that's what I'll help you with. But I will not give you leads just to bring you on. Like, that's not my go-to. Yeah, for sure.
That's a great answer. Yeah. And if that's the first thing they ask when they sit down with you, they're probably not the right fit.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So if they sit down and they're like, hey, okay, how many leads are you going to give me a month? Then you're like, okay. Maybe
your time.
Yeah. It's like not the right fit, right? We want to teach them how to fish because what happens if God forbid something happens and we lose listings, right? And now all of a sudden there's no lead flow for them. Well, now they don't know how to do anything on their own.
Exactly.
Right? We want to teach them. And guys at Workman, where I coach, we teach people to have 4 pillars of income, right? 4. You're choosing 4. That can be open houses. That can be that I'm cold calling around those, like geographic farming, whatever that is. They can choose whatever the 4 pillars are. I only allow team provided leads to be 1 pillar. Now, what that means is the reason we do 4 is if something were to go away, they can still be successful with the other 3. If something were to happen, COVID happens. Oh, can't hold open houses anymore. What if you were killer at open houses? Like that was your thing, but that's all you ever learned how to do well. Well, something happens, you can't hold open houses anymore. You're broke. You're in big trouble, right? So we're teaching our agents to do 4 at any given time so that if something were to go away. I see Will Higgins joined. I know he's got a lot of thoughts on teams. So I want to make sure that what you're doing is setting the expectation up front and teaching them and guiding them. Guys, when people start to become a part of this, they don't want to leave, right? They love where they are so much because you've been so clear in the standards and expectations that there's really no reason for them to leave. If they do, the beauty of EXP is that they're still a part of our organization and absolutely, we still want them to be successful, right? We're all successful when any one of us is successful. So even if they do leave, you're like, great. I'm so glad that you learned while you were here. That is amazing. And good luck. And I hope I can refer you business, right? Because you've kept the relationship so great. But there are always more agents that need help and need guidance on teams. So never look at it as a loss. Look at it as an opportunity that, hey, I helped someone else be incredible at this. And that is amazing. They're going to go out and be successful. And that's still a win. Hi, Will. Good to see you.
Hey there.
Anything you want to add to that, Mister? I know that you have some feelings.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have to have a giver's heart and you have to understand that, like I said, in most cases, nobody really wants to be on your team, They're just there because of the value that you can provide. And if they're a go-getter at some point, and there's not a problem with this, but at some point, there's between the value that they're looking for and what you can provide, it's going to be imbalanced at some point. And like I said, that's the beauty of where we're at. But also you still have to let them know that throughout the process. But for me, I tried the team thing and it didn't work out the first time. I'm trying it again. I'm in the midst of it now. But with the premise that I'm just here to help, I have done more of like an apprenticeship type program where they're with me for a year, and they have to listen, and if they don't, then they're not with me anymore. But all the stuff that Selina's saying, we've gone back and forth, all the interviews, like listen to whatever she's saying because she knows her stuff.
I do help with interviews if anybody feels like they're stuck. So guys, there's no really set way to do it, right? There are certain ways that it has worked very well in the past to run teams, but I love the fact that now you can kind of create what works best for you. And there's no wrong or right way. It's whatever's going to work the most effectively for you and for your business, right? We currently run a team in the East Bay area. We have one listing partner and Laura, what do we have? 4 buyers agents? I think 4. I'm like always hiring. And we have 4 buyers agents. The expectations and the standards are very clear. Okay, I have expectations about what you're going to do when you get a lead. I have expectations about how much you're going to close. Minimum requirement, 2 transactions a month. Now I am giving them leads. We actually run a Zillow Flex team as well. So they are getting lead flow, right? Definite high volume lead flow at the moment. But the expectation is that you are going to call those people, show those people, get them into contract. And the expectation is that you need to be putting 2 into contract every month, period. If you're not calling and you're not following up, I pause you. You get paused. No more lead flow until you get something into contract, right? So you have some ability, but these are things that are known. If you don't do it, this is the result, right? That's why core values are so important, Amanda, like we talked about, right? Because I don't have the, and guys, I also have the requirement on our team, I don't take part-timers. If you're a part-time real estate agent, this is not the team for you. Those are things that you can set as well. I don't have time to deal with who's working and who's not working and who's decided this is important to them this month and when it's not important to them this month. Like, I just don't have the time. But we set those expectations up front as well. Like, if you want to be a part-timer, a team is not necessarily the place for you. If you want to be a full-timer, this is your bread and butter, this is how you're paying your bills, we'll talk, right? Because that's how we operate here. We're just too busy for me to have to handle like somebody's schedule, like on what that looks like. But it's all about setting expectations, right?
Hey, Selina, do you mind running through the meeting schedule right now? I'm doing a pipeline review on Monday, and then I'm doing an in-person kind of midweek check-in and training on Wednesday.
You're talking about what kind of what we have in play right now?
Yes.
Yeah. So we actually scaled down a little bit just because everybody's been so busy, but we were doing huddles multiple times out of the week. You know, God, Laura, were we at 4 huddles? I think we were at 4 huddles a week initially. Laura's my virtual assistant, guys, and she's amazing. So she's my other side of my brain.
Yes, we are on 4.
Yeah. So we have that. We have a team meeting every Tuesday at 10. And once a month we meet in person in Fremont. So that's the expectation is you are there. Like, you are there. That is a non-negotiable that you need to be present because we all take the time to get together. And then we have a Zillow Flex huddle on Thursdays where that's all Zillow Flex. That's all we're talking about. And we do role play calls on Wednesday. So it's involved.
And what are you doing to build culture? And also, have you done any like sales competitions?
We have not done sales competitions yet, although it's something that I have been like noodling on for just a bit because I've got one person who's outpacing everybody by a lot. So it's a little bit tough because he just had 6 in contract. So yeah, I know, Will, right? Like, I know, he's pretty incredible. And as far as culture, we're all crazy close. So I don't hire just anybody. It's a very difficult thing to get onto the team right now. So they have to actually meet with the rest of the team and the team has to approve them. That's how much we care about our culture. Like, they're like, oh, I don't know if that's going to be the right fit. Right. And they're honest about it. They don't lie. Like, if I had somebody where I had one of the team members call this person that was talking to me and he was like, nope, they're not going to make it here. Right. We're kind of a fun group. But we're all also kind of serious about what we do, and they don't want to let just anybody in. So when we meet in person in Fremont on the ones that we do it the second Tuesday of every month, you know, that is our culture time as well. Like, that is our time where we're hanging out, just even outside of the sales meeting. And then we keep talking about wanting to do something fun fairly regularly, but honestly, everybody's been so busy that nobody's had the time to do it. I mean, it's a great problem to have. But they're like, hey, we would rather get more deals in contract than meet and go and have, you know, dinner or throw axes and shoot and do tequila. So it just kind of depends. Kind of waiting for things. I hate to say this, but to slow down a little bit. I've been in a hiring frenzy because we've had so many Zillow Flex leads. I don't have enough people to handle them all. So it's been like everybody's just been focused on getting into production. But our culture is pretty impactful right now. It's not what we had before. For those of you that don't know, when Rick Jiha was with us, we actually released almost the entire team before he passed away. And that was because I had a bunch of part-timers. I had people who had retired from other things and they did this for fun, right? Like occasionally they might put something into contract. And we released almost everybody. And I started over from scratch. We kept, I think 2 people. Yeah, we kept 2 people out of the whole thing. And that was about setting the standards so high. Like if you're going to be here, you're going to be here. This is what we do because this is how we pay our bills. And we're passionate about it. Right?
So Selina, what are the top right now, you know, we talk about 4 pillars, right? So right now I'm giving my team leads, and this week we're going to work on the top 50. What are the top 2, the other 2 lead generation sources that everybody's using, and
Yeah.
how are you holding them accountable to that? Because again, we did pipeline review this morning, and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the leads that they have that they're showing. I'm like, okay, that's my lead, that's my lead, that's my lead. And I'm like, look, if you're just going to do the business that I give you, this isn't going to work, because financially it just doesn't work. You got to bring something else in.
Yeah, so we're actually going through this right now because, as you know, we got Zillow Flex just before Rick passed, and then it blew up and it got so big. And we realized that it's almost our entire lead source right now, which is bad, really bad. And so I meet with a lot of other Zillow Flex team leaders across the country twice a month, and we all agreed that Zillow Flex should only be 25% of our total closings, right? And so I said to the team, I'm like, guess what? Like that means you have to start doing other things, right? Because right now they're doing everything they can to carry the load. But what I would tell you is don't focus just on top 50, Will. It needs to be full sphere of influence. 250 to 300 people you would invite to your wedding or your funeral. If you're only doing top 50, you're missing the boat. Okay, you have way more people that you know. Way more people. The average person knows 250 to 300 people in their sphere of influence. And top 50 is great. It's wonderful. It is definitely still way up there, but they need to be doing the full sphere of influence. There are just too many people talking about real estate right now for you not to be talking to every one of those people regularly. Every single one. Okay, so that's a lot of people that are not getting the full effect of a sphere of influence touch. Okay, there's a lot more to be said there. The average person talks about real estate 8 to 12 times a year in a social setting. What you want is when they have that conversation that they're mentioning you. Like, so the only way to do that is to constantly be in front of them in some way. Even if it's just email, guys, even if it's a text message that just says, hey, just doing my regular check-in. Has anybody mentioned to you that they might want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? And you're still checking in with them because, hello, they're your sphere. They're people that you know. Now, out of what you just said, team leads, top 50, and sphere of influence, open houses are on fire at the moment. They are on fire. Okay, so if your people aren't holding open houses, and I don't mean just for your listings, they better be calling everybody else in the area that's holding, has a listing and asking to hold an open house. It's very effective right now. A lot of people are going. It's the summer. It's a great time to be doing open houses. But if they're only showing up and holding the open house, they're doing it wrong. Okay. You need to be door knocking beforehand. You need to be calling 100 people around that open house beforehand. You need to be putting out 15 to 20 directional signs. 9 times out of 10, when I ask people how many signs they put up for an open house, they tell me 2 to 5.
I do 6. I do 6.
Will Higgins, I'm going to jump through this screen.
Hey, I'm a digital guy. I live in a digital world. You know, I'm just like, if people want to know about this open house, 9 times out of 10, they've seen it on the internet. And again, I ask everybody that comes in, and I haven't really gotten many people say, hey, I just saw the sign, you know?
That's because you only put out 6. Okay. They need to be at the major roads and pointing all the way in. All the way in.
It's hot. It's hot, Selena. It's hot.
Hire a sign runner. Okay. We had sign runners. We hired college kids and high school kids, and we paid them to put those signs out and take them back up. Okay. There is some kid that needs a job this summer. Okay. And here's how you do that, guys. If you want to be effective at it, there's a system behind it. The second you take a listing, you open up Google Maps and you immediately look at it and place dots. You drop a pin everywhere you want to sign. The second you take the listing, don't wait until it's time for open house. You do it the second you take a listing. Have your VA do this, have your assistant do it, whatever it is. And they put, we called it a sign runner map. Okay. And those drops were where I expected them to put those signs. And then it was great because we could give it to them. I'd send it to them in email and then they would know where to go pick them all up again, right? But you're doing it from the major roads and pointing them all the way into the house. Anybody driving by on any of the major intersections, you want them to know that there's an open house. You'd be surprised by how many people will go because they see a sign. Okay, but that doesn't need to be you. Hire some college kid that's looking to make some cash, right? They put them in their car, they drop them off, they pick them up 2.5 hours later. Okay, super easy to run. Just do it at the very beginning. Now you have a sign runner map and that person knows exactly where to go. Just make sure they're putting them in the right direction. I have had that problem. Like arrows are going like the wrong way. Sometimes you got to like coach them a little more, but it does work. So open houses are really effective right now, guys. My roommate, she actually went and held open houses this weekend. She door knocked like crazy. And like she wasn't even done putting the sign out in front of the house. And she texted me and she said, I just got a seller/buyer lead from the neighborhood that wants to sell and buy. She's like, I haven't even walked in the door yet. Like, but she door knocked like crazy beforehand. Okay. So most people hold an open house. They show up, they put the sign in the front yard and they walk in and they expect that to convert. That is not the way to hold an open house. I could hold an entire class on an open house. Okay. There's a whole process that goes into that. So if you're looking for a great lead source, guys, it's summer. This is when people are out there, and for crying out loud, don't only do them on Saturdays and Sundays. My roommate's doing them on Thursday nights, Friday nights. She's doing them like crazy right now. She's getting leads from every single one. Every single one. Okay. So if your agents are not doing the work, then put them to work. Okay. This is not for the faint of heart, but you're supposed to go out there and build your business, not expect someone to build it for you. Okay. So that's another one there. Any questions on that? Yeah, go ahead, Will.
Did you see the video of the young kid in Palm Springs at EXP that did 100 open houses in 100 days?
I did. He's amazing. I love it. I love it, guys. Oh, yeah, like look at Brent Gove. He did it too. Remember, he said he was holding one every single day when business was not the way he wanted it. And guys, it doesn't have to be your listing. And if your buyer's agents are looking for something and they're like, Amanda, you don't have enough listings for me to hold an open house. We are currently in that situation. Then call around. There are plenty of other EXP agents with listings who are dying to get some help on open houses. Yeah, look at David. He's like, hello, me. I'm raising my hand.
Dang it, David. I wish I could be over there.
Yeah, I mean, look, post on it, say that you're looking for somebody, whatever it is, guys, and don't only do it on Saturdays and Sundays. It's summer. That's a terrible idea. Do it them all the time. Like, and if they're close to a school during the school year, do them at school pickup and drop off times. Like all of these things are all very effective ways. People need to stop being lazy and get out there and do the work. Okay, and we need to teach them to fish. Teach them to go and do these things. But if they're only showing up and putting a sign in the front yard and then they're complaining about it, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. You better be door knocking. You better be calling. You better be advertising it. And I'm just going to say this because then I'm going to get off my open house high horse. If you are not posting about your open house in the MLS until Thursday or Friday, then it's your fault. It better be in there on Monday because you're giving it more exposure. I don't make my plans for the weekend on Friday night, right? I'm making my plans for the weekend typically by Tuesday. So I wouldn't go to an open house if I didn't know about it until Thursday or Friday because my weekend's already planned out. I already know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing, and I don't have time to go to an open house now. But if I saw it on Monday on Zillow or Realtor.com or Tuesday, I'd be like, I think I'm going to go this weekend, right? Got to stop doing stuff last minute. Okay. And tell these agents, they need to be looking for that stuff and asking for it on Mondays. I'm hunting for somebody. I want to hold 4 open houses this weekend. I'm going to start on Monday and I'm going to post it. So it's getting the most amount of exposure out there on Zillow, Realtor.com, all the places, right? So that all the consumers see it and can make plans to be there. Okay. That's like, if you're going to do it right. Okay. And hold them responsible to that. Will say, hey, listen, I know that you're only doing the leads I'm doing right now. Your job is to get 2 open houses for this weekend. They aren't my listings. They can be anybody else's listings, but that's your job. And then I want you to go on Thursday and I want you to door knock the whole neighborhood and make sure that you're inviting everybody in the neighborhood to go. I know it's hot. I know it's hot. Go in the evening, door knock in the evening. Rick was doing it in a full 3-piece suit, for crying out loud. If Rick can do it in a suit, anybody can go and door knock. Okay. Like don't whine to me with all the excuses. Come to me with like, hey, I held 2 open houses and I have 15 new leads. Right?
I'm trying to be at the beach with David. David, where you at? You in
Me
you in
too.
Vegas?
Oh,
That is
yeah.
nice. David, my wife and I, we were watching the Trixie Motel or something last night. We saw you.
Oh my gosh. I know. I wish I was on vacation somewhere. That'd be lovely. So the key from all of this, guys, is I'm trying to see how much time we have left. Okay, we've got about 7 minutes. You can hire great people to do great things. Set the expectations, set the realistic expectations about what they are going to do and what you can provide for them as well. You know, when someone says to me, like, what am I getting for my 50%? And I'm like, hi, how many times did you call me this week already? You know, like you're getting lead flow, you're getting taught, you're getting trained, you're getting accountability. And whether they like it or say they like it or they don't, they need it. People join teams for that additional level of accountability. They want guidance and they want help. Does it take your time? Yes. Are you getting 50% of their closing for it? Yes. Suck it up, buttercup, and
Can I
provide
ask 2 more questions?
Yes, of course you can, Will. Go ahead.
In terms of when to add a new team agent, right? Before it was 25 leads, every 25 leads.
Every 25.
But has that changed since it's harder I mean, it's taken almost double now to close, the amount of leads I bring in. So
It's still
is it
about
still
25.
25?
It's still 25. If you have 25, the average agent can't handle more than that. Okay. Like they just can't. So you need another, because they're not going to do as great of a job. Okay. They're really not. If you're giving them more than 20, if you are getting more than 25, for those of you that don't know what it is if you are getting 25 leads a month, you need to hire a buyer's agent. If you get to 50, you need to hire 2. These are buy-side leads, right? Because anything more than that, and they're not going to do a good job with follow-up because not everybody's going to be ready, willing, and able to buy right now. We call them an A, B, or C buyer. A means appointment, you're already showing. B means that they're in the next 30 days-ish, right? And C is anything over that. Okay, so they have to still follow up on the C's. You start giving them more than 25 a month, it's too much for them to manage because they're trying to move C's into B's and B's into A's. Anything more than that, and they start dropping the ball. C's start to just disappear. They never get followed up on again. You're only dealing with low-hanging fruit, right? You're not doing a good job.
And how much, like, for them to stay, like, what type of income should we be targeting for these agents, the buyer's agents? Like, what type of income should we be targeting them to make? And I ask that because, like, what if you get leads coming in, and sometimes you cherry pick who they go to, like, what should I be looking at these people making?
Okay, well, one, you should always be asking them what they want to earn because that's important because then you can hold them accountable to it. My recommendation is that sometimes it depends on if you want to say an income or you want to say number of transactions required to stay on the team. And that's 2 per month, right? 2 per month, because I'm trying to keep them into the habit of being productive, right? If you set an amount, Will, what happens is if they get one good closing, you might see them go completely dark for 2 months. Okay, because they're like, I got the money now. I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to do whatever, right? So when you start setting an expectation on number of units, it keeps them in to the habit of being productive and getting to the next closing. I don't care if the last one was $40,000. Okay, if you don't do anything for the next couple of months, you're going to come to me in a couple of months crying because you don't have anything in contract, right? And so it's going to happen, and I'm going to be like, well, where were you? Right? But on average, the agents that are coming to us are saying, I definitely want to make $100,000. Some say 150, some say 200,000. And then you have to back into that based on your average sales price and see how many transactions that equates to. Right? And then now you're holding them accountable to whatever goal they set. If they come to me and they say, I only want to make 50,000, I'm going to be like, what are you doing with the rest of your day? Because that's like 8 to 10 a.m. Like, right? That's not a full-time agent. Someone who comes to you and says, I only want to make $50,000 a year, that's a part-timer. Okay, so that's a different conversation. That is not somebody who's in this for the long haul and saying that this is all I do every day, right? That's a retiree or something. And that's okay. There are people like that out there. They're not necessarily the right fit for the team, right? Because they're going to come to you and they're going to be like, I don't know, I'm thinking about going on vacation for 42 days. Like I had this come up on a call last week. I was on with Workman and they were like, all of my agents keep taking the summer off. I was like, excuse me? It's busy in the summer. Like, like we don't take summers off. That's like a great time to be selling real estate. And they're like, well, that's why I do this. So I can just have the whole summer off. I'm like, well, hi, we're not in a good, this is not a good arrangement. Because now what am I going to do? Hire someone for 2 months? Right? So make sure that they are setting their own goals and then you're backing into the numbers. Guys, the numbers are important. If someone comes to you and says, I want to make $100,000 a year and they don't know how to get there and they don't know what that looks like, you better sit down with them with a calculator and break it out because they have not done the math. They have not done the math. They don't understand. And guys, this came up this past Friday on my Workman call with all the coaches. For those of you that don't know what daily success habits are, it's that this has been around for a very long time. The average agent needs to do 61 points of rhythm a day in order to keep a consistent business of 2 transactions a month. 61 points, and you earn points different ways. Calls, listing appointments, buyer appointments, showings, you can earn 61 points different ways. We just figured this out the other day. Depending on how experienced the agent is, and if they're fighting you on the points and they don't want to do the points, you're making $20 to $40 a point. If you start putting that into their mind, like when they're like, oh, 61 points, what does it matter? When you start breaking it down to how many points it takes to get to a closing, right? It's $20 to $40 a point they're earning. So if they're whining about making calls, say it's you're making $20 every time you make a call. Every time you make a call, it's 20 points. You're $20, right? Or if they're really getting good at it, it's $40. All of a sudden, you're really good at doing those things and getting people into production and getting people into closings. You're making $40 every time you pick up the phone. Stop whining. Pick up the phone. Like sometimes people need that little extra something to show them what their time is worth. It's $40. $40 every time you dial. Not worth it to you? Worth it to me, right? So something to think about. Okay, guys, I know we went long. I'm sorry. Thanks for today. I hope everybody got something from this. Will, call me if you need me. As per usual. David, you're more than welcome to do the same. Amanda, same thing. Hopefully I'll see you guys again next month. And if anybody needs anything else, feel free to reach out.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Bye.
See ya.